Okay, more about inflammation. So we've talked about stress reduction. We've talked about doing that through sleep, through some exercise, through what we're focusing on, negativity fast, things like that. Let's talk about food and diet and what we put in our systems. So inflammation can be um, caused by or exacerbated by what we eat and what we put in our systems. So sugar, 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 white sugars, plain sugars, corn syrups, these are things that our body utilizes in quite negative ways. Um, so going off of these refined sugars, being sugars that are created, that are made into powder forms, that are made into syrup forms, rather than their natural form, like a maple syrup or a honey. Um, all of these fructosey things still have their effects, but the worst offender is the refined sugar. So being mindful of how much of that you're eating, and preferably none of that. If you can switch over to eating fruit instead of um, candies, and shifting from high sugared cereals, if you're eating them, to cereals that are made with natural fruit juice. I mean, making changes moderately are really good things, but getting away from sodas especially. And we'll talk a little bit about diet sodas having all kinds of chemistry and chemicals in there that are bad for your gut flora and do things to your brain to kind of mess with your neurotransmitters. It's these chemicals, our bodies, some people cannot handle them, and most people have issues with them. So, but back to sugars. So avoiding things like processed meats as well. The chemicals in those also can cause inflammation. Staying away from bread, which can be a difficult one. We love our bread, but wheat in particular, white wheat, whole wheat, wheats for some people, it just becomes a problem for inflammation. So there's a lot going on with the wheat grain these days, a lot with our systems. Genetically, some of us are more predisposed to handling gluten better, some are not. So gluten being wheat, and there are many products with wheat in it. So keep your eyes out, read lots of labels. I know this is a lot of information pretty quickly. I'm going to break it down into smaller chunks, but I'm going to give you a bunch of stuff today, and then we can go from there. So cutting out refined sugars, cutting out white breads and wheat breads, and looking at either whole grains or more naturally derived breads that don't have the gluten in it. If you can get away from bread entirely right now, try that for 30 to 90 days. If you were to do an anti-inflammatory program in its entirety, I would ask you to go off of sugar, refined sugar, and gluten for 90 days. First, we'd start with 30, and then we'd work our way up to 90, depending on how your body was reacting and what we would see as the benefits from that. Processed meats, getting away from those. I know they're super easy, and we have our cheese and salami or our sandwiches with meats. Try to step away from those. You can buy a turkey breast and roast it in the oven and slice it off and have the best turkey sandwiches you've ever had. Same thing with chicken. You can buy a rotisserie chicken. You can roast a chicken. These are some things you can do to kind of stay away from the processed meats. So diet. Sodas of any kind, diet or regular sodas. Regular sodas are filled with sugar. The diet ones have the fake sugars in it that do a lot of negative things to your gut. Our gut is essential. So feeding our gut, that's the next thing, since we're kind of talking dietary anti-inflammatories. Feeding our gut healthy things so that our gut flora can, we take a lot of probiotics and we don't have anything for them to eat. So the prebiotics are very important, and that can come in the form of cruciferous vegetables, so having your kale, your lettuces, your collard greens, Swiss chard, fennel, like any of the vegetables that you can put together that are fibrous, salads, cucumbers, all of these wonderful things. You could take psyllium. You could take inulin. You can take a lot of these things to put it in, but also if you're eating it, you're getting it. There's some folks still promoting having oatmeal is very helpful and beneficial. Some people are reacting to oatmeal. So again, if you were to do like a 30-day elimination diet, you would take all of these things out of your diet, put tons and tons of vegetables in, eat moderate amounts of protein, really good healthy oils like olive oil, some coconut oil. That's still one that some people are good with, some are not. And keeping it very, very clean, taking your flax oils and your fish oil supplements, and working to get that inflammation down by eliminating things that you might be sensitive to. Dairy being another one. A lot of people are very, very sensitive to dairy. There's a lot of studies out there with A2 milk. Some people can digest the A2 milk more easily. But again, I would suggest a 30-day elimination and keep a journal. And then after the 30 days, what you would do is reintroduce some of these things one at a time and see how you feel. So these are a few of the things. Rices, other things to go off of would be white rice, to stay away from it for a little bit, 30 days. So basically you're eating a ton of yummy, yummy, yummy vegetables with good healthy oils, moderate amounts of proteins. If you're a beans person, go for it. If you're not a beans person, try it. Try some beans, try, why am I drawing a blank? Chickpeas, lentils, things like that, just to see how your body reacts. You also get extra protein from that. So nutritionally, there are some things we can do to bring down inflammation. So we've talked a bit of nutrition, we've talked a bit of sleep, we've talked a bit about moving our bodies, and then there's the meditation and breath piece. So I'm posting tons of stuff about meditation and breath. I've got some guided imageries out there, so if you'd like to try some, check those out. But that's a quick thing about inflammation and some ways to bring inflammation down. See you soon.